we're going to insert the Pigeon, which is a inertial measurement unit, device used for measuring angles of our robot, into the design, and we're going to project through the two holes from the Pigeon into the belly pan, create the holes in the belly pan, and then we're going to insert 2 bolts to bolt it in. So here's our frame so far without the Pigeon. I want all of the electronics components to go in their own assembly over here. So I'm going to create a new component in my design saying new component. This is going to appear down here. Going to give it a name, call it electronics. And I'm going to let it be activated automatically by the creation of it. That'll take this selection dot from here down to the new component when it's created. Has created electronics and made it active. That's why everything else is wireframe, because we're working in this component space here, and all this stuff lives in these components out here. So to insert the Pigeon, I'm going to expand out the data panel. I've had the search box open here, but just to show you where that is, expand out the data panel across there. That'll get me. Back. Right. In commercial parts, which is under FRC. So there's a group here called commercial parts. We have the CAD models and nearly everything that we put into our robots stored in these folders here. I'm going to search for Pigeon, showing me the last search that I had there. That's why they're all appearing there. And then I'm going to drag and drop that into the design. On a Windows PC, on a Mac, you have to right click on that and say insert into current design. I'm going to pull that up out of the road a bit so it's not down in the robot. And I don't want to ground this to parent because I don't want to ground it where I've just put it. I'm going to place that in its position. So I'm going to untick ground to parent, click OK. So that's now put that Pigeon inside this component here. Now, I'm going to show you a new tool, which is the Align tool. We can use the Align tool so that we can line things up. Now, it lives somewhere in one of these menus. I'm never sure where it is, so I use the search box for searching for commands. So I just press S on the keyboard, and then I can type in here any of my commands. So if I just start typing AL, I can see Align comes up as the top option, and click that, and now I've got the Align tool going. You can align different things. You can align bodies within a design, or you can align components within a design. I'm interested in aligning a component because this thing we brought in is a component. I need to get to the bottom of that Pigeon there, so I'm going to zoom in there, and you can see these are all the different alignment points that I can align. The one I'm interested in is the middle, at the center of the bottom of the device. So I'm going to click that. Now I'm going to zoom out with my scroll wheel, pull the view around so I'm looking from on top, and you can see there's a little alignment dot there, which is going to be the center of the belly pan. And now we want to capture its position after we move it. This just means you can, if you accidentally move things and you haven't captured their position, you can easily get them back by reverting their position. But I want this to be like captured in space, it has been moved there intentionally. That capture position doesn't lock it in place. I can still move it. I'm going to Control Z that back. It just makes a snapshot so that you can actually get back to that point if you need to. Because that's in the right spot, I need to join that where it is. So I'm going to go assemble a rigid group between Pigeon and the belly pan. Okay. So now that's locked in place. Now that won't move. Now we're going to create a sketch on this belly pan and project through the geometry of those two holes so we can drill a hole in the belly pan in the right spot. So because those holes are in the belly pan, we want the belly pan component to be active first. So I'm going to click that, then click its dot. Now, if I click away, you can see that the belly pan is the active component and everything else has gone wireframe. I want to add a sketch to the belly pan surface. I don't want to add it to this plane. I want to add it to the belly pan. I'm going to click that. It'll automatically spin around for you guys. Now zoom in here. I want to project through the center of these circles so I can draw my own circles. So because I'm only interested in the center of the circle, I'm going to project them as construction lines. So I'm going to turn on construction and then P for project on my keyboard. It doesn't matter which one of these circles I choose here because they're all going to basically give me the same center point. So I'm going to project that one and that one. Click OK. And what that's effectively done, I'm just going to pull this view around a bit, is projected the circle there down onto that sketch. So if I turn that visibility of that Pigeon off now, you'll see that I've got those two projected circles there. Now I want to extrude a 2.5mm hole through here because we're going to screw into a 3mm bolt. So C for circle, click on the center, and you can see that's still construction because it's got the dashed lines. I want to turn that off. So I can even do that while I'm drawing the circle. Just go over here, click that, and now it's gone back to a solid line. And I want it to be 2.5mm. And I want another one over here, zooming out with a scroll wheel, zooming back in with a scroll wheel. Click here, pull a little bit to the size, and then type in my size and lock it in. Now that I've got the two profiles, I want to extrude those through. So finish the sketch, extrude that one and that one. If you're not in 3D view at this point, click on your house to get you into 3D view so that you can see which way things are going to extrude. Grab the arrow, start pulling it in the direction I want to go. The distance I want to go through is all the way through. That's the easiest way to do this. Instead of trying to know the distance, just say distance all. And then that way if the thickness of the belly pan ever changes, that'll always go all the way through. Okay, that's got those two holes in our design. We can turn the visibility of our pigeon back on again now. And now we're going to bolt this down. Now the bolts are bolting into the pigeon, so it makes sense to actually make the electronics component the active component now. So I'm going to click away here so I can just see my active component. Going to insert McMaster-Carr component. It's a screw and bolt. It's a metric bolt. It's a 3mm metric bolt. And its length that I'm interested in is 15mm. 15mm. Here they are, steel socket head screws. So I can see it over here on the left hand side. I'm just going to go straight to that black oxide. That's the type I've got. Going to scroll over here to this. Click on this. Make sure this reads 3D step. And then click download. That should bring my screw into the design, all going well. Yep, there it is. It's coming in at the origin of the design. I'm just going to pull that up and out of the road so I can see it easier. It's not grounded to parent. We don't want it grounded because we're going to position it. So go OK. Now I need to join the bottom of the head of this screw down there to the face down in there. Right, so zoom out where I can see that screw, pull the view around so I'm looking at the bottom of it, zoom in there. J for joint. Hover over the face that I'm interested in that contains my joint origin. Hold Control or Command on a Mac. That locks that there so that it doesn't disappear. If I try and get that joint origin in the middle there, it's almost impossible to get it because as soon as you start moving towards it, other joint origins light up. So this is a really good example of why you need to hover over the face that holds your joint origin and then lock it to that face with your Control or Command. All right, zoom that back out, pull the view around looking on top, zoom in here. And again, hover over that face that holds my joint origin, hold Control or Command on a Mac, come in there and grab the center of that circle. That's brought that screw, put it in place, and joined it there. Now, I could insert the McMaster-Carr component again, or I can just copy this component. So the easiest way to do that is just select it here, because that's where it went into the electronics component, because it was active. And then I can do M on the keyboard for move copy. Very important when you're creating a copy, before you do any moving, you want to tick the create copy because you'll lose access to that once you've started to move it. So now that I've got create copy, I'm just going to pull that copy of that bolt up out of the design. And I'll pull it up nice and high so that I can look under it to get that joint origin when I need to. Click OK. So now I have another copy of that bolt down there. I can zoom in here, Shift, center scroll wheel, turn that view around, J for joint. Grab that face, hold Control to lock it to that face. Click there, zoom out, Shift, center scroll wheel, pan, center scroll wheel to move the view over, and I want to get in there onto that face there. I can, if you do click on the ring on the edge of that, because there's only one joint origin here, that is one way to get that center origin, but I always just like the habit of hovering over the face, holding the Control key, then going in to grab the joint origin. Then you always know you're going to get the one that you're clicking on. And then click Okay, and now I'll change my view back up to the whole product view by clicking up here and making this the active component. Then I'll click away so nothing's selected. I've got these two joint origin markers here. I don't like the visibility of them there. I'm going to turn them off. So if I right click on there on one of the joint origins and then say find in browser, that'll find where that joint origin lives in here. And it's inside the electronics component in the relationships group. And then there's those two joints. So I'm going to turn off rigid 1 and rigid 2. It still looks like it's there. That's just because it's selected. If I click away, that disappears. I can shrink that back up again. So I've got a nice tidy document tree here. And now we have the IMU inserted into the design with its bolt holes in place. So from this point, we can probably go then and manufacture our belly pan. So we'll leave the video there.